with their overall health, to share insights as we grow together, to use our gifts and our talents to make a difference in this world, especially right now, and just to be around other positive people. Liz and Adrian and I truly feel that we're creating a movement that can impact many lives. Each week, we would love it if you can encourage others to join us in this powerful health group that we got going here. A little bit about me. I've been helping people restore and optimize their health for over 30 years. My degrees are in nutrition and dietetics, exercise physiology, and cardiac rehabilitation. I've had the privilege of working with some of the top medical minds in the entire world, including one that's on our call tonight, so excited about. And they believe, as I believe, and that's that the body has the ability to heal itself when given the proper nutrients and tools. My passion is servant driven. I love helping people, being able to share what I've learned with people over the years to help them transform, or those who want to join us in our health mission. This feeds my soul. So take it away, Liz.
All right. Okay, you guys. Well, my name is Liz Geeslin, and for those of you that don't know me, I've been a personal chef for 17 years. I focused my business around healthy home cooking, and that prior to that, I trained horses professionally for 35 years. I became passionate about really my own health and now really helping others, and being surrounded by all these wonderful people that also feel that same way is just very empowering, and it's so rewarding to be able to be on a mission to help people really just live a really full, healthy life. So Adrian, I would love to turn this over so you, oh.
Excuse me one second. Michelle is trying to get it in. Just look for her. She is trying, she was looking for some link or something. Anyway, just so you're aware that if someone's in the waiting room.
Okay, yeah, it'll pop up. Okay, Lisa.
Adrian.
Okay, here she comes. Here she comes. Okay, great. Thanks, Lisa.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We want her in the house. There she is. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, so Adrian, would you please do the honors and introduce our wonderful speaker tonight?
Sure. My name is Adrienne Gerard, and I am a registered nurse, and I also have a master's in holistic nutrition. And my passion has been helping people optimize their health as naturally as possible. And that's been my passion for the last 20 or 30 years. By day, I also work in biotech with rare disease patients. And so health has been at my heart all the time. I have the distinct honor and privilege this evening to introduce our very special guest, Dr. Charlie Rouse. I wanted to tell you a bit about Dr. Charlie. He is a doctor of naturopathic medicine. He's the founder of the Modexis Product Review Council. He's also a registered pharmacist and a pharmacologist and a product formulator, as well as the owner and operator of the Medicine Man Corner in Albany, Georgia. And in his spare time, he is also the senior pastor at Liberty Baptist Church. Dr. Rouse has a weekly podcast helping people restore their health. He's also an author and an international speaker who has been formulating natural supplements for over 30 years, along with his commitment to do no harm. And without further ado, I present to you Dr. Charlie Rouse.
Welcome, Dr. Charlie.
To all of you, and thank you very much. And I'd rather just sit that Deborah, Liz, and Adrian teach me something tonight. They got the knowledge. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Dr. Charlie, I thought maybe we'd start off. First of all, I meant to tell our guests this earlier, that if you guys have specific questions, we do have a few that some guests have messaged in earlier, that there is a chat box in your Zoom that you can click on the chat, and I'll be monitoring that. If there's something specific, then type it in the chat box. We think that that might make it a little bit easier, and then I'll monitor that. But I'm going to start out because I think I would like to, Adrian and Deb and I talked about this, because of just sort of where we are in the world and what's going on, that we think we need to talk about immune system 101. And one of the questions was, what are the major reasons for a weakened immune system, Dr. Charlie? Oh, we can't hear him.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
There we go.
There we go.
all right. Had me muted. Hey, there's no doubt that the greater majority of the people that we're meeting right now have a weakened immune system. And, you know, with the standard American diet, it's atrocious. And you start adding in just carbohydrates, refined sugars specifically. They say that when a person reaches 50 grams of refined sugar in a day, and they can quickly do that at Dairy Queen, if they hit that 50-gram mark, the white blood cells, which are the predominant factory for keeping everything in the immune system operating, the predominant 50-gram sugar paralyzes over 50% of the white blood cells. So imagine that for 5 hours, just because of 50 grams of refined sugar, we've actually wiped out 1/2 of the immune system. And white blood cells only live for 12 hours. So there you go. We don't have a whole lot to work with. Every 24 hours, you got to reproduce your white blood cells, 1/2 of them every 12 hours. So it's an amazing journey. Now, the master control center, the very computer room where all the software is and where everything gets going, is called the thymus gland. It's right there below the thyroid gland.
Mm-hmm.
And that thymus gland is controlling the T1 and T2 cells, the white blood cells that are out there, the natural killer cells. So in reality, most people that we meet are very deficient in their thymus gland. They don't have the white blood cell count, and it's all because of their standard American diet. So we bring them in, we get them hydrated, we get them off of sugar, we introduce them to good nutrition. And the first thing we have to do is signal the thymus gland that we're coming to help you. And once that thymus gland gets the signal, then all these spleens and all these factories that put out the white blood cell, they'll come back to work for us.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so then the next question along those same lines is, how do we put up the best defense system? I mean, you answered part of that already, but what is the best? I mean, it's the nutrition, and I guess it goes in with, because I have to say, I'm embarrassed to say that 2 months, well, it's been 3 months. 3 months ago, Dr. Charlie, I didn't know what glutathione was. And so, and my friends here were sort of surprised but I want to know, why is that so important in our defense against disease, and what makes it so important for our bodies?
And that is the ultimate right there, because the master molecule, the actual master molecule that detoxifies every cell and fortifies that thymus gland, is called glutathione. It's a tripeptide. It's made up of 3 amino acids, and once they get into the system, kaboom. But what we found was that even if I gave you the 3 peptides, the 3 amino acids to build the peptide, the body itself, if it's already been degenerated, and degenerated, I mean they already have issues like blood pressure issues, cholesterol issues, obesity issues, liver enzyme issues, thyroid gland issues, all kinds of degenerative medical issues, then for some reason we found in research that we could give you the best of the amino acids, and endogenously, internally, generally speaking, your body would produce enough glutathione. But the degenerative people, those who have already begun to age, or those who are already on a prescription drug, or those who take a OTC drug for their headaches or for whatever, all of those things, the ability of the body to assimilate those amino acids. And in research, we found that from a powerful nutritional company called that built a plant-derived glutathione that was absolute 100% absorbable when taken in the oral route, that we could put 100 milligrams into the bloodstream with the amino acids, and now that 100 milligram glutathione, the reduced form, would be like a catalyst extraordinaire. It would be like lighting the match. And now you got the power to spark the spark plug. And that was the difference. All these other people on the market had glutathione, and other people had the amino acids. And we said, what we need to do is to give the body everything it needs endogenously to build it, but then we need to catalytically convert it. And it was a long, drawn-out process. Research showed us that glutathione requires a very unique form of selenium. And with that, we took the mineral, but it had to be chelated with the methionine molecule. And so we took that amino acid and we chelated it. We added it to the glutathione spectrum. And when that happened, now we had the perfect glutathione that crossed into all of the trillions of cells, detox what was unnecessary, but yet the manufacturing plant, the natural killer cell, the thymic 1 and thymic 2, the white blood cells that were going to be the little Pac-Man that could gobble up, would be very beneficial. Along comes coronavirus. I've been working in a nutritional immune support for 25 years with the coronavirus. So this virus, the Coxsackie virus, the flu virus, they're nothing new. They're just simply viruses. And what we find is that when the glutathione and the selenium are together, if you'll present just a little bit of zinc, and we get that in a trace mineral from a plant form, that zinc is now capable of crossing the cell membrane, and zinc is known to stop the replication of all known viruses, Ebola, the SARS, MERS, any virus, Zika virus, all of them. And it's all in the zinc. So along comes the prescription drug company a few weeks ago. They say, well, let's use quinine, chloroquine, or the water form of it, hydroxychloroquine. It's nothing but quinine. The quinine does zip for the human body, but it instructs the cell of the membrane of the cell itself, let zinc cross over. And if you already got the correct zinc, and you've already got the right glutathione, and you've already inundated it with selenium, we've already beat the system. So you know what? I've always said it's not the beast, it's not the monster, it's not the viruses or the bacteria or the fungus or the mold that's going to take us down. It's a weak immune system. And if we'll feed that immune system, feed it from the inside, you'll win the war every time. And we learned that maybe 34 years ago from the Russian scientists who their laboratory, they took fresh cholera, injected it into their veins, and none of them got sick. Why? Because prior to their injection of the cholera, they had fed their body with nutritional supplements that boosted their immune system. So they proved it. It's not the beast. It's the immune system that all people work with.
Right. I have another question, Dr. Charlie, and this is from one of our guests, and she says, I was wondering if there was any buffered ascorbate C powder that was in any of our Modexus Lonicera products. She said, I've learned from Dr. Jaffe that it helps upregulate the effects of glutathione.
Okay, and was the question, is there any sulfur?
No, ascorbate C powder.
Okay, I got you. In other words, you are correct that glutathione requires the absorption of that particular antioxidant. We went one step above and one step beyond. First, we traveled to the British Columbia Northern Province, and the Kirkpatrick family was organically growing a berry that we were interested in called the Lonicera berry, and the reason because it has all the arceola, all the vitamin C, all of the absorbable vitamin C in it. Then we went to Patagonia down there in Chile and picked up the maqui berry, all because it had all of the stages of the antioxidants that we were looking for. And we wanted all of the bioflavonoids. We wanted every one of the iridoids. We wanted all of the chemistry that could come in there in that nano-sized technology. But yes, absolutely. We knew without a doubt that we couldn't even absorb, utilize, bioavailable, make and mix glutathione without that. So that was our basic building block for the product. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. So Deb, do you have anything that you wanted to ask Dr. Charlie?
Well, I had a question come up from someone that's on this Zoom wondering about taking a multivitamin mineral along with the longevity. Is it necessary?
Technically, not necessary. If somebody wanted to choose that Lonicera longevity to be their primary multiple vitamin, that'd be all right, because in the berry are all the antioxidants. In the formula, we use a Centramin, which has 70 plus minerals, including the zinc in its bioavailable form. It has a high-powered nutrition, a trademark true nutrition from the milk thistle that we call silifos. It keeps all of your glutathione is produced in the liver. And a lot of people can't produce what they need to produce because of a fatty liver. And so we move in there molecularly, fixing all that configuration for them. But me personally, I take a multivitamin and I take Lonicera, but it's okay. They could choose one and do fine.
Thank you.
I have a question. You mentioned earlier about sugar. Since I'm a firm believer in what you've just said about sugar, since I've been on the paleo program now for almost 6 years, how would you define sugar as far as coming from fruit, natural fruits, or sugar that's been, as wine is concerned?
Right. And what we found even in the glutathione factory is that you almost have to measure your blood sugar, your body's ability to utilize it. And there's no doubt that there are some fruits that can raise that blood sugar to 150, 160 right quick. Most of the fruits are okay because they're in structure with a lot of different fibers, a lot of different amino acids. And it's not like getting a refined raw sugar. But in the clinical studies that we did with the white blood cells, where we were paralyzing 50% of the white blood cells at 50 grams of, that was based on raw carbohydrates, raw refined sugar, or something that had been taken apart and refined into nothing but Dixie Crystal pure sugar. For each person, though, there's a lot of fruit eaters that do very well, healthy-wise, but they'll have to check the fruit, see what it does for their blood sugar.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Dr. Rouse, for patients with autoimmune conditions, what do you recommend for dosage? Is the typical dosage enough, or could they take more?
What we find, like in Hashimoto's, thyroid, different people with autoimmune spectrum, all kinds of different problems. Most of those people really need a lot of help with their liver, with their white blood cells, with what we call the thymic, that which fixes the thymus gland, the computer system of the immune. Generally, for an autoimmune, it's going to take 2 capsules twice a day on an ongoing basis just to keep their levels up. And the more they get the thymus gland fixed, the faster then they can feel the energy and know that their body is not getting sick and sleeping better, resting well, all kinds of things.
So even at our age, if we give the right nutrition to our thymus gland, it can recover. I know it shrinks over time.
Yep, it does. And there's just no doubt about it that our white blood cells and our T cells and our thymus gland itself is good. I'm in my 70s. I've been nutritionizing my thymus gland for 30 years, and thank the Lord I haven't been sick a day, you know. So I fix that thing.
So we can't take too much of it. Is that true?
That is true. We're not dealing in a chemistry of any sort. Even if somebody took 10 capsules, that would never hurt them. There are days that I have access to the raw Setria, S-E-T-R-I-A, by the way, is the pure glutathione powder that we use. And if you've never been to that website, Setria.com, SETRIA.com, you're going to be amazed at the research that's behind our team that puts together just that one molecule for us. And there's been many a morning when I've had to go into the wilderness of people that are very, very sick, and I'll take a scoop of that powder. I probably have ingested 3,000 to 6,000 milligrams of glutathione at one time. There's no toxicity at all.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. Lisa, did you want to go ahead and ask your question? You have to unmute yourself.
There we go. Hi, Dr. Charlie. I had mentioned this in our meeting last week, and I just wanted to maybe get a little bit more information. I have a 28-year-old daughter who has Hashimoto's since she's 11. It's a fish and a shellfish allergy and sea salt. And she's been told she should not have any iodine. So I don't know if I'd like for her to try the products, but I don't know if there's any concerns with any of those allergies and your products.
I see that we're going to help her. I believe we're going to do more for her in the right direction. And the trace minerals that are coming into play, they're not coming from any of the sea. And so they'll be fine. They'll be absolutely fine.
Yay, you got your answer.
Okay.
Check again, it scares me so.
Right. Dr. Charlie, I have a testimonial, and I know that one of our guests, actually Michelle last week, she kind of explained why she thinks it worked for me, but I have carpal tunnel. My sister, in fact, told me, I was going through all these things, and she said, I think it's carpal tunnel, and it went, yes, it is. And so I've been wearing a hand brace, but what's interesting, and this all started like last fall, but in the meantime, I started having this pain in my palm and this finger would curl over at night, and oh my gosh, it would hurt like crazy. So when I went to the actual hand doctor, he said, yes, you have carpal tunnel. This thing in your hand is something totally separate. So in the meantime, I just started, actually January, the first week in January, started on the Modexis products. And I'm telling you, this hand is fine. It's just, I don't know how to, it is just, I can't believe it. And it's the only thing I've done different. I still wear the brace at night, but there's some nights I think I'm just taking it off. It's kind of hot. And it's just, I'm thrilled. And so tell me from a Dr. Charlie perspective, what happened? Just the inflammation is gone, or what's going on here?
Well, in the Lanacera, the reason we pulled Lanacera into the product and made it our base for all of our products, there is no more potent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It's up there with the curcumins. It's up there with the serapeptase. It's up there with all the anti-inflammatories, bromelain, enzyme, all of those. But because we mixed it with Centramin, see, whenever that finger right there draws, that's a mineral. That's a mineral deficiency. And sometimes we call it Dupuytren syndrome and things like that. As soon as we put the anti-inflammatory back in the system, which the Lanacera brings to play, and mix it with the Centramin, now we have the ability of the fiber, the sinew, the tendon, the ligament. And what we're physically doing is mending the muscle, mending the tissue, taking out the inflammation, taking out the aggressor, taking out anything that doesn't belong, but replacing it with new tissue. Because inside that mitochondria, that cell, that factory, we're not only dealing with that factory, we're building new mitochondria in your hand. So we're giving you a whole lot more mitochondria. New go, new.
Yeah, it's a new lease on life. I mean, it's just, I mean, and I'm not even, I mean, I'm not going to have the carpal tunnel surgery. I mean, if I have to wear the brace occasionally at night, it's just not a big, it's fine now.
So, Liz, I think Mary had a question. Mary, do you want to share it, or do you want Liz to read it for you?
Oh, okay. All right. So Mary had a question. She said, would this possibly help with neuropathy in the feet caused by past chemotherapy?
You know so. And I'm using it all the time on neuropathy. And where chemotherapy usually gets them in the feet and the legs. Think about all of our diabetic friends, all of them, type 2 and type 1 diabetics. That neuropathy gets in that retina of the eye. And here we are protecting them and giving them, that's the reason we went to Patagonia to pick up the maquis berry, because it was already proven to be the perfect eye vitamin for night vision, for myopia, for neuropathy, for cataract prevention, and even helping with the intraocular pressure. So that vitamin is not only a perfect eye vitamin, but it's a very definitely good neuropathy vitamin.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
No kidding. Yeah.
Great question.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm going to change the direction of this a little bit. This is obviously not a question for me. I do have someone who has been asking me about infertility in younger women. And it seems to be more epidemic recently. And are our products something that may be able to help them?
I'm going to be very excited about what it will help, because 30 years ago, my expertise is what they call the PCO molecule, the oligomers of the procyanidines, anthocyanidines. And 30 years ago, I started helping young couples that were trying to conceive. And we found that that PCO molecule was the perfect nutrition, because it made his sperm more in number and faster to swim. But in her case, it made the ovulation sink and the things to become more on the calendar. And I could honestly tell you and share many a testimony by using the PCO molecule, which is in the Lanacera. We have many young couples to conceive. Now, I haven't had any testimonies yet on Lanacera longevity, but get somebody to try it and take it on a regular basis and teach them a basal thermometer, because if they can catch that ovulation, they got a much better.
All right, well, we're going to work on a testimonial for us.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Fun. Okay, I'm just trying to think. I think I've got, let's see, one here. We've talked over the few things that so Dr. Charlie, I would just, this, I think, I know that the Lonacera longevity and the lift, they're like your two dream formulations. And share a little bit what that was like for you to be able to pull this together and your partnership with Modexus and just how all that came about. It's just very so endearing, and I just would love to hear a little bit about that.
Well, Modexus started out with 3 guys, and they were working with a lab in New Jersey, and they've been trying to get a product, a similar product to lift off the market for, say, 6 months. The guys in New Jersey had already taken their $35,000 and produced nothing. And you talk about 3 aggravated, totally frustrated guys. And 2 of the 3 guys knew me, and they knew that I formulated. So they're calling up and saying, and they weren't telling me anything about network marketing, new company, anything. They were just saying, if you had to formulate a product with so-and-so, and I said, well, first of all, I wouldn't formulate a product with that in that. That's trash. And then all of them are listening. Oh no, he just trashed our $35,000 product. And I don't want any part of it. And then they said, well, what would you put together? And I said, this. And I sent it over there to them. And they said, man, that looks good. And I said, I have a, how would y'all like a sample? They said, you can't fix a sample. We've been waiting 6 months for one. I said, I've got a lab. I got an FDA registered lab that's just waiting to help you. And I said, we'll put everything that we're doing in the lab on behind you. You'll be the product out. And in 7 days, they had that lift product on the way to all 3 owners. And they found out, yep, that's the product we've been wanting. And anyhow, with the Lonacera Maquis, we built, Lift was originally built by Dr. Charlie as the perfect brain nutrition. I wanted the best memory vitamin in the world, and we built it because 40% of all the body's energy use is in the noggin, in the head.
Wow.
And if you don't take it in the head, I don't care what else you give it. And I didn't want any, I didn't want to mess with the pulse, the blood pressure, the heart rate, none of that. And so we knew of Tikrin, which was a super product, but bitter as quinine. And I always wanted the product to be in a capsule, but the powder. And I said, okay, we're going to powder it up for you, but we're going to it out. Taste right. And it got off the market like that. And then all the people that were taking the powder said, we'd rather have a capsule. See, I said, I told you so. I said, I'm working on an anti-aging true longevity formula. They said, you are? And I said, yeah. They said, well, you mind if we look at it? So sent it to the lab, and that Andrew Reinhardt just blesses my heart because everything that is very specific, and it's trademarked, and it's not junk, and it's not just buy anything and put a little bit in there. I want it therapeutic dosing. And he paid for it. He got exactly what he paid for, the perfect product. So 2 of those are on the way. 3rd product's being experimented with, and feedback that's coming down the line, it's gonna go good.
Well, I have to share with you because when I first, Deb was the one that first shared the products with me, and then when I shared them with Adrian, she said, Liz, the first thing I did when those products came is I turned the bottle around, and you have no idea how happy it made me to. They said proprietary blend, that they listed what was in it and how much, instead of just it's a mystery. And we've known, I mean, we see stuff like that a lot of times, and you don't really know, well, how much is really in there. And so that was really awesome.
That's for sure. And everything that's on the label is in the product. And Dr. Charlie has a no list, NO list that's longer. There were so many things they wanted to put in there. And I said, if you put it in there, it's your product. I'm not going to be a part of it. And don't attach my name to it.
Right.
So they bad stuff out.
And these things are third-party tested, correct?
Yep.
So what it says is in there, it's in there.
Yeah.
I guarantee that.
Look at my hand.
Every week, and I don't own one penny in that lab. I have no financial dealings with that lab at all. But I just help them medically to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. That's
We appreciate that, Dr. Charlie.
yes, and yeah, this is just wonderful. Okay, does anybody else? Michelle, do you have any questions? Raise your hand.
I have a question. Glutathione, this is a twofold question. So glutathione, it has a very difficult time passing through the intestines, and it's usually in a liposomal form for it to be well absorbed in the body. So how does that particular product become absorbable where it needs to be absorbable so you don't lose the efficacy in the body?
When you go to the website, Setria.com,
Okay.
SER.com, the mechanism of action that got us there is a fermentation process.
Okay.
We're learning a lot on fermentation, and we've taken it down into nanotechnology, and now that reduced form is very unique. But the building block of the 3 amino acids, we found early on just exactly what you said. The cysteine molecule, CYSTEINE, it's a singular sulfur molecule. It's one bond of sulfur. And as soon as the stomach hits it, it breaks apart. And so we needed a double sulfur amino acid, and it's called cysteine, CYSTINE. And we were able to access that perfect amino acid from Spain, and we got it into our lab. Now we had the 3 building blocks that were absorbable and bypassable and getting into the liver without breaking down, because it was a double sulfur. And when the body breaks it down, now we got the single sulfur that went on in.
Yeah.
But Setria is the key to that product. We're the only product on the world market that has realized you need a catalyst. You need a match to light that fire. And what we did, we take the 100 milligrams of the pure reduced form that's from a fermentation process, and we 100% of it, clinical studies have shown that everything you swallow orally goes into the system. Now we could use just that molecule, but I wanted everybody to have 1,000 milligrams every dose. Some people take 2 doses, they get 2,000 milligrams. You start talking 1,000 milligrams of a fermented glutathione, and then the price goes up there to $200 or $300, and nobody wants to take it. So I beat the system. I give them all 1,000 milligrams with the cysteine molecule, cysteine, and the match. And when the match goes in, the fire is lit. It's unique. It's a very unique product. Nothing like it on the world market.
Yeah, I believe it. And then my second question was, the goal is to keep glutathione in the body, but if you're detoxing, you'll probably use the glutathione and it will go out with the waste. So if you're in the process of doing a detoxification on someone that's taking the product, we talked about it's okay for them to take more. What would be your recommendation for somebody who is going through some kind of heavy metal detox or other detox?
Great question. And all of that heavy metal detox and all of your body's true little Pac-Man is going to happen while you're sleeping. That's going to happen during the circadian cycle. So first thing in the morning, you're going to be as low as you can be in glutathione because your body's done all the work.
Okay.
Fire it off first thing in the morning. That's when you take that dose. First thing. Even better, take it on an empty stomach and go for it. And then for people that have autoimmune, that have degenerative diseases, who have liver enzymes that are elevated, who have other issues, then take that second dose somewhere in the late afternoon or even right before you go to bed at night. And now you got full detoxification without losing one molecule.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Good.
Excellent.
Right. I have a quick question, Dr. Charlie, when you were just talking about taking it on an empty stomach. I have basically a non-functioning thyroid, although I am going to get checked since I've been on the Lonacera longevity to see if maybe I can be reduced in the amount of medication. But I've been on Synthroid for almost 22 years. And I take 137 micrograms. I think that's what it is, micrograms, I guess.
Yeah.
But what I was wondering is I know that I'm supposed to take that on an empty stomach, which I do. I take it first thing in the morning when I get up, and then I don't eat for an hour. Would it be, because I know that the product is a food-based product, would that be considered, could I take that at the same time first thing, or would it be better for me to wait and consider that? Should I look at the Lonacera longevity as a food and not take it at the same time as a Synthroid? What would be your recommendation?
It would be better to separate that Synthroid and your Lonacera by, say, an hour of separation.
Okay.
Get on down the goozle and into the system.
Right. Okay. Because that's what I had been doing. I mean, I take it as soon as I get up in the morning in the bathroom, and then an hour later, then I would take my others. Okay. That's good to know. Okay.
And even if somebody takes Lonacera with their breakfast meal, it's not gonna influence it one iota. You still
Right.
get 100 of it. It just may slow the reaction or delay the reaction maybe 45 minutes, so they're still getting full benefit.
Right. Awesome.
So in this case, it would be okay to take the Lonacera right before you eat.
Yeah, actually, it is so simple that the chronology is never an issue. You can take it with meals, without meals, before meals, after meals, anytime you want to take it. And I got a lot of people that take it at bedtime and never interrupt their sleep pattern. But why waste good energy? I always said, you're fine.
I know.
Yeah, I don't care about my energy when I'm asleep.
But it's okay to take the lift and the longevity at the same time.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, that's what I do.
Yeah.
All
right.
4 pills first thing in the morning. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they want to ask Dr.
I'm the non-video here, Marie.
Marie.
I had somebody ask me just the other day, when I'm going through a treatment program right now that includes glutathione, and she was pretty excited to hear that because she knows that she needs to supplement it, and she also is concerned about her daughter needing it as well. And so any reason why a child, 8 or 10 years old, can't take the product?
Highly recommend it. And every student, a better student. We've used it quite frequently with 4 years old and up. And if you start pricing out glutathione, now we're giving you more than 1,000 milligrams per dose, more than that. If you start pricing out glutathione or do a Google search on Silifos, just that trademark product in there, or Centromia, just to buy a bottle of Centromin or Silifos or selenomethionine, the trademark selenium I'm using, I guarantee you that you're probably looking at almost $200 in simple nutrition in that one product.
And the other question that she had was about yeast infections. She had taken oral glutathione product in the past and immediately had problems with yeast infections. So when I was talking to her about this, she was asking, you know, was there anything present to help mitigate that? And it sounds like you answered the question when you were talking about the way that it metabolizes, that there are aspects of this product that would make a difference.
And it is. And glutathione we're using is antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-mold, M-O-L-D. That's going to be the next big buzzword in medicine.
It already is. I have people asking me if I sell coffee and tea, and I have people asking me for mold-free coffee. My answer is, it got roasted at 400 degrees. It was packaged immediately, and then you're putting it through 205 degree water when you're brewing it. How do you think the mold is going to survive any of that?
Tell them just to add some bleach to the water.
And some Lysol.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that's
surprised I have lungs because my mother used to spray Lysol around the room. Deb's grandmother. She used to spray Lysol everywhere in the house to get rid of her cigarette smoke.
oh, great.
It's
Oh,
amazing
lovely.
I'm alive.
Now there's a good combination.
Isn't
Smoke
it though?
and
One
Lysol.
toxin on top of another. Yeah, so that's why yeah, it's the only reason that COVID-19 bothers me at all is because my lungs are always the first place things go wrong. But I can back up, Liz, what you said. I mean, I know I haven't used this product yet because I had, well, when Deb was first talking to me about it, I had already started with a doctor doing an extensive program because I found out I've had Lyme for 45 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was manifesting as all kinds of autoimmune problems. So I'm doing IV glutathione and vitamins and herbs and other things that he's put together, but I'm not going to be able to afford to continue to do it this way. It's an expensive way to do it, and it's time consuming. So once this second round of treatment is finished, you know, I want to be transitioning into something that can help me maintain what's going on. And so that's why I'm really interested in this. But I had the very same reaction. My hands had become very stiff and my ligaments, it felt like they were going to snap anytime I tried to bend my fingers.
Wow.
And it was mostly in my right hand. And so I was, you know, showing the doctor that before he did the first glutathione infusion, I could close my hand to about the size of a capital C, and that was it. And I said, well, it'll be interesting to see what this does. And the next day I was using my hand normally, and all of a sudden I realized it didn't hurt and I could bend my fingers. So, you know, I could really see right away that glutathione had made a huge difference. And just being away from the infusions for a week with no other supplementation of glutathione, my hand started stiffening back up again, and it got harder and harder to touch my fingers to my palm.
Wow.
So I can really see how beneficial it is. And, you know, other aspects of my health are improving drastically. I did things this last week that I would have been in bed for 3 days if I'd tried it a year ago. So
Wow.
I think what I'm experiencing with this very intensive program for somebody who's been very sick is different from what I think people will see if they're already in fairly decent health. If they haven't gotten that far, this product can probably very well keep them from ever getting there into the shape that I was in. But my dilemma, Deb's been trying to help me for years, and I've turned a deaf ear often because I really needed to know what the root cause was. And this doctor's practice happens to be called Root Causes. And so he helped me get to that. Once I had that piece of information, then I felt like I knew enough to proceed. Because other than that, I felt like I was just throwing darts in the dark. And you know, I wasn't comfortable with that. But now I feel like I've got some direction. And it's a very powerful feeling to not feel like you're cuckoo anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
For
Well,
sure.
thank you for sharing that, Marie. That was wonderful. Thank you.
I think Lisa had a real quick question, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about, my sister Monica has been on the calls and she's been on the longevity for, in her second month. She has MS and fibromyalgia and gets injections for pain. Currently, she's just taking 2 a day just to make sure she didn't have any adverse reactions to it. For someone in her situation, should she be up to like 4 a day or do the empty stomach thing?
I definitely would go 4 a day for that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Charlie.
Thank you.
I have one more. Would it be necessary if somebody is on the medication for them to not take it for 1 or 2 days prior to labs being done? Is there anything in it that would potentially affect a lab? No.
No lab.
I know biotin, like biotin can affect thyroid labs. So, okay.
No worries then, right? No worries.
Good, no lab issues.
No lab.
No
issues.
lab issues.
All right, great. Well, I
So
think
Deb,
we had-
Deb, would you like to wrap us up?
Yes, we just want to thank you so much, Dr. Charlie, for spending time with us tonight. I know you are a very, very busy man, so we are just thrilled that you're able to do this with us and give us some more insight, and your knowledge is just amazing. So we can't thank you enough. Appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can't
Thank
wait to
you.
meet you in person.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And thank you all for joining us and
Right.
sharing with us and asking questions. We appreciate it.
Right, and we'll have this also recorded too. So if any of you do want to have the recording, that we'll have that available too.
Okay, I'd like that. You might let your sister know that. I think the way she was writing notes, I think that she probably.
Yes, I know. I'm so glad she was able to jump on. She's a whole day, half a day ahead. So,
Excellent.
okay.
Okay.
Well, you guys, this
Thank
was
you.
wonderful.
See you
Thank
next
you all for
week.
joining us.
See you
Thank
next
you
week.
all, and thank you, Dr. Charlie.
Thank you, Dr. Charlie.
Thank you, Dr. Charlie.
Yep.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, Dr. Charlie.